Once you have your new artboard created, we want to start with the ellipse tool. Remember, we will be using keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcut for the ellipse tool is L. So holding shift, we're going to drag out an ellipse. Then we're going to jump to the rectangle tool, which is keyboard shortcut M. Pressing Control Shift A to click back on the anchor to make the rectangle the same width of the ellipse and bringing it down. And then we're going to click on V for the black arrow tool. Hold down Alt and drag it down straight so that the center of the circle hits the bottom line of the rectangle. So from here, we're going to do Shift and select all three shapes. And then we're going to go in our Pathfinder panel. If your Pathfinder panel is not open, you can go to Window and click on Pathfinder or Shift Control F9. And we're going to want to use the Unite, which is the top left. So we're going to combine all these shapes into one. Alternatively, you can also use the Shape Build tool, which is Shift M to select all shapes to make one shape. So now we're going to use the line segment tool to draw a line. To just strike a line all the way through the shape. Hold Shift and select the main capsule. And then under a line, we're going to center a line vertical. And then we're going to do the same thing, marquee over the shape in the line. And then in the Pathfinder, you can either do divide, or in the Shape Build tool, which is Shift M again, you can simply click on one side once and click on the other side, so that now when we deselect, we can simply delete these lines. So now we have two shapes. So now I'm going to fill the shape with white and black, white fill, black stroke. And then I'm going to hit my L for ellipse again, and I'm going to drag on an ellipse with a high angle. So not a low angle, but a high angle so we can see the inside. And we're going to drag again. This center ellipse should be right at the top of the line. And alternatively, hold down Alt and clone up another ellipse, so that now we have two halves of a capsule. But for the moment, it's going to look like an optical illusion because it looks like both these capsules are pointed towards us. But this is actually going to be the inside. So we're going to simply hold Shift again and select the two shapes, and then go to Unite to join it. So now we have essentially the top cap that fits over top. So now once you have this, we're going to Alt and drag it up one more time so that we have yet another ellipse. And if it's behind it, you can press Control Shift or Command Shift for Mac, Command Shift left bracket to send to back, so that yes, this is on top of it temporarily. So I'm going to move this to the side because we're going to use this ellipse later. So zoom in, Control plus, press Control C to copy, Control F to paste in place, then hit the letter S to scale and click on the circle's corner and drag it in slightly so that it then forms a ring around the inner ring for the lip. So now we're going to hit Alt, and then I'm going to drag this ring down slightly to say right here so that they're not overlapping. So I'm going to hold Shift and select both ellipses. And then I'm going to do the Shape Build tool. And then I'm simply going to click on this center circle here once. Click on the top inner ring. And then now hit V, deselect. And then click on this, and we can bring it to the side, or we can delete it and we'll leave it to the side. So that now we have a capsule that looks like it has some kind of liquid inside. So now for the top panel. So for this, we're going to start to add color. So I'm going to click on my top capsule, turn off my stroke. I'm going to make the fill a blue, but also I'm going to lower the transparency of the blue to say 50%. And I'm going to do the same thing for my ellipse here. I'm going to simply click on the eyedropper tool and sample the blue, but then make it slightly darker, or just choose the darker blue. So So then we're going to put this back in position. And then I'm going to Control Shift left bracket, send to back. So it's technically underneath this section here. And it still looks like an optic illusion because it looks like it's pointed towards us, but once we put the cap over top, it'll look the same. So I'm going to drag this off to the side temporarily. Then we'll do the same thing we did with the bottom path. Control C, Control F, hit S, scale it in. Scale it in slightly. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing. So click on select these two shapes. But this time we're going to cut out this ring from the inside. So we're going to click on this Pathfinder panel again and go minus front. So it's going to cut out the overlap to form a ring. So I'm going to put this back over top, back in position. So now it looks like it's a lighter ring. So for the bottom capsule, we're going to do something. Turn off, we're going to mark you over all these shapes. We're going to turn off the stroke. So no color for the stroke. You can't see anything, but we hover over it, make this red. Make this outer lip a darker red. Make this inside the same red, but even make it slightly darker. And then for the inside, we're going to make this green. And then we can marquee over our two top shapes. Press Control G, Command G for max to group it together. So then we're going to put it over top of this. So now press Command Shift to bring the front so it looks like it's sitting on top of the capsule. And then we're going to use the pen tool. I'm going to just draw a little highlight here. Make this white. Let's put the transparency down to say 70% to make it slightly transparent like that. And then for the red, we could keep it red, but we're going to still add a gradient. So click on the black and white. And I'm going to simply drag down my two reds that I want to utilize from the default swatches. So we're going to put the lighter side on the right, darker side on the left. By simply reversing the gradient. So now it looks like it's going from light to dark. And we're going to do the same thing on this one here. We're going to click on this shape. We're going to click on the gradient again, but it's going to make it black and red. Red for the moment. I'm going to click on blue, dump my blue down here. Dump my light blue over. So now again, we have a lighter on the right, darker on the left. And we now simply can delete this. But then also one more thing, we're going to mark you over this and I'll group this together so we can get the highlight together. We're going to click on the green liquid inside. And we're going to also add a gradient to that. So I'm going to go back to my default black and white gradient and simply click on dark green rather. And then go from dark green to light green. But also want to change my angle, let's say 45 degrees. So that's not just a solid flat color. So same thing, click on this and put this capsule back over top. And now I'm going to marquee over this whole shape and press Command G so that it's now all these different shapes are grouped together so it can move in tandem. I'm going to hit M for my rectangle tool again. Drag out a rectangle across the entire artboard. Make this a dark light gray. Then press Command Shift left bracket or Control Shift left bracket for PC. I'll make it a little lighter. So then now we're going to hit L for the ellipse tool. We're going to draw out yet another ellipse, the same width of the capsule. Make it black. I'm going to bring it down to the bottom. And I'm going to lower the transparency to say 80%. And then I'm going to press Control, not Control Shift, not Command Shift, but Control left bracket, drops it back once instead of dropping it all the way back, which would make it behind the actual background color. So I'm going to lower my transparency a little bit more. So 50% transparency for the shadow. And just making sure the shadow is perfectly centered. We're going to select the shadow and the capsule, go to align, line to center, and it was. So this is how you make a transparent capsule with some liquid inside of the canister.